Hello, it's TechBroshow24 here, all the help and more, and today on the TechBroshow we're going to just talk about what's happening in the world of technology this week and upcoming Apple event. Now, of course, Hayden's not here with me, and so it's just me, and it's already different because the camera wasn't working today, so I thought I'd, and we're a bit behind on recordings as well, so I thought I'd record some Formula 1 and so you guys can watch me very bad at failing to qualify, and surprisingly I've actually qualified first and actually have won that race also. So anyway, forget that. Further ado, we're gonna get on with it. So first off is Sony spokesperson says the Xperia Z5 Premium has a 4K screen. Sony's incoming Xperia Z5 flagship will be the first smartphone with a 4K screen, according to a leaked video from public.com. In it, Sony's marketing director says the company will release both a 5.2-inch Z5 and a 5.5-inch Z5 Premium. And the video is focused on the larger model. On top of the 4K screen, which yields over 800 pixels per inch, the device is also packs a 23 megapixel camera with a 0.03 second autofocus and a 5 times digital zoom, confirming a previous leak. The new flagship will be just as waterproof and dustproof as the Xperia Z3 Plus model, but with an interesting twist. The micro USB connector is waterproof even without a cover. The all-metal phone retains Sony's boxy design language to a T, though it now has the Xperia logo engraved into the side for a more premium look. The Z5 will also be Sony's first phone with a fingerprint sensor. Since Apple's fingerprint sensor, Samsung and Sony and Microsoft have all gone into the fingerprint sensor movement, which is mounted in an unusual spot, the tiny side power button. As for the rest of the specs, previous rumours had both the Z5s equipped with Snapdragon 810s, 3GB of RAM and 32GB of internal memory. Unlike its bigger brother, the 5.2-inch Z5 is said to have 1080p screen. Given the nature of the video, we wouldn't treat this info as gospel just yet. However, Sony will reveal it at the IFA in Berlin later this week. And to an update on that, the video was actually questioned, has now been pulled down due to copyright claim, but there are plenty of copies still circulating on YouTube. On to other news, Microsoft backports privacy invading Windows 10 features to Windows 7 and 8. As previously stated, the post in question talked about how a firewall cannot be used to block the Windows connections that bypass the host file. There appears to be some confusion on this point as to whether that ranges can be blocked on Windows 10 or not, and conflicting reports on how the Windows firewall treats such rules. They discussed it with Peter Bright in Arcs Technics, who has confirmed that these new connections can be blocked. Reports that they can't may have been confused and related to the different iOS settings. Every time Microsoft releases a new version of an operating system, there's always a few users bitterly unhappy at the company's decision not to support new features or older products. Microsoft has finally listened to these die-hard devotes of older operating systems. If you felt like Windows 7 Windows 8 offered you a little too much privacy, rejoice. Microsoft is updating those operating systems with the same telemetry gathering software deployed on Windows 10. What? You want DirectX 12? Connects.net has discovered 4 KB updates for Windows 7 and 8, each of which is described as an update for customer experience and diagnostic telemetry. Each is detailed below. So, KB 3068708. This update introduces the diagnostics and telemetry tracking service to existing devices. By applying the service, you can add benefits from the last version of Windows to systems that have not yet upgraded. The update also supports applications that have subscribed to Visual Studio Application Insights. KB 3068708. is listed as collecting diagnosis and is about functional issues on systems that take part in the Customer Experience Improvement Program. Determining whether or not you are a member of the CEIP, however, is less than obvious. The KB also notes that most programs make CEIP options available on the Help menu, although for some products you may have to check settings options or preferences menus. This is a recommended Windows update. KB 3022345. This update has been suspended by KB 3068708. I'll say that again. KB 3068708. But previously provided the same telemetry tracking services. It's not clear how the two updates differ, but if you want to remove all traces of telemetry tracking, you want to remove this update as well. KB 3075249. This update adds telemetry points to the user account control, or the UAC, feature to collect information on evaluations that come from low integrity levels. What this appears to mean is that Microsoft wants more information about the kinds of applications that trigger UAC in the first place, presumably because it wants to know what they do and what they need to do access. This update is classified as optional. KB 3080149. This update is described as in identical languages to the first two. This package updates diagnostic and telemetry tracking service to existing devices. The service provides benefits for the last version of Windows 10 systems that have not yet upgraded. The update also supports applications that have subscribed to Visual Studio Application Insights. It is provided as an optional update, even though the first one classified as a recommended update. Going on to Samsung news. Samsung unveils circular smartwatch, but are apps available? The new Samsung Gear S2 and the new Samsung Gear S2 Classic is what's on the talks right now. Samsung is juicing up its smartwatch with a circular face and more battery life than the Apple Watch, but it's unknown how many apps will be available for it. The limited selection of apps is one of the main challenges facing Samsung smartwatches. They have been around for longer than the Apple Watch, but haven't generated as much interest or sales. Samsung's newest, the Gear S2, faces competition not just from Apple but also from a variety of manufacturers using Google's Android Wear software. According to IDC, Apple was the number 2 maker for wearable devices in the April-June quarter with a 20% worldwide market share, behind the Fitbit and its fitness trackers at 24%. Samsung was 5th with 3.3%. So far, outside app developers have focused their efforts instead on the Apple Watch and Android Wear watches. Samsung watches use their own operating system, Tizen, which means extra work adapting apps for them. Samsung promised a variety of apps designed for the new watch circular face, but it didn't provide details. The company said demos of the new apps will come Thursday at the IFA Tech Show in Berlin. The Korean electronics company didn't announce a price or release date for the S2. The S2 is the first Samsung watch with a circular design, and the company says the watch frame will rotate to help users access apps and notifications. It's not a new shape for smartwatches. Motorola and LG make circular frames too. The S2 will come in 2 styles, classic and modern, with variation colours and bands. Apple Watch requires an iPhone, and the S2 will likely require an Android device from Samsung. Some models will have 3G cellular capabilities that let them do more without the phone nearby. The 3G models will likely cost more and won't include a service plan, which is typically $5 to $10 a month in the US when added to a phone plan. The S2 promises to have 2 to 3 days of battery life, compared to the Apple Watch's 8 hours. Now on to some Apple news. The iPhone 6 release date on supposedly September the 9th, as invitations have gone out saying, and the quote on the invitation is, "Hey Siri, give me a hint." Now a lot of people have gone on their Apple devices and have gone into Siri and asked Siri to see if they can get an answer. But of course Siri has come fighting back, which is amazing, with a really good answer. Siri, give me a hint.
Well, I hear there's something big happening on the 9th of September.
And she's got other answers as well. With this, Apple may be keeping it silent on the iPhone 6 release date for the time being, but as we know, hopefully it will be the September the 9th. But it doesn't stop the rumours of the next expected next-gen handset going on. Given that Apple was a creature of habit, the company's annual product cycles have become rather predictable, so keep the first couple of weeks of September free if you're intent on following the iPhone 6s release. Excuse me. This isn't based solely on tradition and conjecture. Either supply chain sources have been getting a bit gobbly in recent weeks, all pointing in the same direction. Coincidence? Maybe. A pink iPhone 6s is probably actually happening. And there's just some of the other really weird rumours going around. With less than a week to go until the expected iPhone 6s release date, the Apple rumour mill was kicking into overdrive, and various insiders have all hinted that the iPhone 6 will be formally unveiled during a dedicated launch event on September the 9th. As we know, that event has now gone out. You won't be waiting long to get your grubby mitts on the device either, as the phone is set to hit retailer shelves less than 2 weeks later on September the 18th. And between those dates, those extra eager to secure their next-gen handset will be able to pre-order the device, with advanced orders reportedly set to be taken from Friday, September the 11th, a week prior to launch. The iPhone 6s's design is meant to be small updates to make a bigger difference. If you're keeping your fingers crossed for a reworked 6s design, we've got some good news, and we're still well sort of. Those who are expecting a radically revamped handset are going to be disappointed. There's not going to be no Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge echoing side in comparison screens or LG G4 inspired curves here. Just a few subtle changes that aren't overly apparent. In the wake of last year's Bendgate farce, we saw early iPhone 6 models buckling and bending under moderate amounts of pressure. The new iPhone 6 is set to be handed a reinforced frame. Dimensions are still set the same as the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, but the increase in height and 0.25 rise in thickness will be near unnoticeable, while the revamped frame is set to drop down slightly on its predecessor on 129 grams wide. Leaks from the production line suggest the phone's frame has been strengthened around the home button, a former area of weakness. Good news for those skinny jean wearers who last year struggled with the iPhone's bendy ways. With the dramatic redesign is off the cards, Apple was seemingly set to give us new colour options. Thanks guys, a new series of leaks have suggested that a pink iPhone 6s will line up alongside the traditional silver, grey and gold O-rings. Aesthetics aside, given the iPhone's S suffix title, it's expected that the iPhone 6s will provide more of an incremental upgrade than an out revamping of what already a stunning good device. In keeping with the annual evolution pattern that followed the life of the iPhone's line, the X6 will run a new A9 processor. This follows from last year's A8 chipset and will offer power and performance boost for the most demanding of users. As always, this will combine with a considerable amount of RAM to provide more grunt than most iPhone owners will ever require. Another change reportedly heading to the upcoming iPhone is a switch in storage options. According to a flurry of reports, Apple will wave bye-bye to its slightly restrictive 16GB entry-level handset instead of ushering an era of 32GB micro SD expansion. However, that will maybe still be missing. The screen size and quality is not expected to change this year also, of course. However, the technology behind the panel is all about to be confirmed to be heading for an Apple Watch inspired update. Avoiding that at times unnecessary, numerously specs race, not rare. The iPhone X6 will see Apple stick with its 360 per pixel Retina HD display and 401 per pixels for the iPhone 6s Plus, where the pressure-sensitive Force Touch substrate will be added into the mix. This, like the company's Moto 360 and Samsung Gear S2 rival, will let users make hard or soft presses of the screen to perform different tasks. The year's star of the show will hopefully be the iPhone X6 camera. Imagining ability is seemingly set to be the major improvement on the iPhone 6s, a big snap considering the existing iPhone's already high camera standards. Apple has long avoided the megapixel specs race, pleasingly aware that a higher megapixel count doesn't guarantee better quality. Now though, having mastered the optics and software side of things, not really, the megapixel those loose supply chain sources have been added again, speaking with Business Insider, claiming that the iPhone 6s will jump from an 8 megapixel sensor to a 12 megapixel camera. This will be enhanced by a new 5-element lens structure to improve image clarity. Although the exact ins and outs of the phone selfie snapper are still unclear, expect to see a 6s FaceTime camera handed a sizable update too. Thank you very much for watching the special kind of thing of the TechBroshow. Stay tuned as I do a review on the 5K Reddit video software that I've been asked to do, and I've been asked to review a game. So stay tuned for those later videos in the week. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and also don't forget next Sunday for the Minecraft episode 20 we have a special guest. And also do check out the trailer that I've got of the game that I've been asked to put on the channel, and I've done that for them as well. So thank you very much for watching, and have a very good day.